I think Thomas Edison said this, and I really liked it. And it was like, vision without execution is just hallucination, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this is what
That's a great quote.
I live by. This is
Uh-huh.
what the podcast is an example of
Mhm.
that. Did you have a lot of self doubts and when you were doing this?
Yeah, I had few of those moments. I just like listen. I don't say anything, but
Perfect.
I just listen. I'm
Perfect.
like, okay, that's what you think. I'm gonna do what I want.
Is this one on? So Saurabh, you can just pull the crane towards you.
Okay.
Okay, you can put this headphones on. So it says LNR. If you put that on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what's your favorite team?
Is Chennai Super Kings?
Same.
Yeah.
The reason why it's our favorite is because 1, 2, 3.
Dhoni. Yes.
A couple of years ago, where startup was very booming. A lot of people wanted to just jump into startups. But I was reading some stats somewhere which said like 90% of the startups they fail. Is it true?
It is true.
Okay. Then why people jump onto startups? Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Clean Slate Show Runner podcast. Today I have a very special guest. They are young. They have a lot of fire, and they're stirring up the startup industry big time. We're going to talk about a lot of late night brainstorming session stories to transforming it into a seed and then allowing that seed to grow via a very interesting and fun stuff that my guest has created today. So, Saurabh, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the great introduction, man. That was
man.
really amazing.
So now the pressure is all on you. I'm off the
no
hook.
pressure.
No. That's what makes something. You need like to be able to absorb the pressure and then
Oh yeah,
use it to channelize and thing. So
for sure.
So you let me first start by okay. So we're going to talk about IPL. Today marks the day of starting a new
Oh yeah,
season
that's
of
right.
IPL. For the audience, because we are Clean Slate showrunners, we don't assume, we don't presume about anything. So IPL is one of the biggest cricket leagues in the world, one of the richest cricket leagues in the world, and me and Saurabh are big fan of the sport cricket.
Yes.
And the fact that we are doing this recording right now, it's amazing because the game is on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's on.
Let me ask you this: what's your favorite team?
My favorite team is Chennai Super Kings.
CSK. So Chennai Super Kings equally same.
Yeah.
The reason why it's our favorite is because 1, 2, 3.
Dhoni.
Dhoni.
Yes.
So MS Dhoni is one of the biggest icons, legends
Oh
of
yeah.
the sport.
I love Dhoni. Like his career wise and also like in his personal life. Like
Right.
I admire him. Like I admire everything about him.
Yeah, same. So we have a good so we are not missing much.
Yeah.
Our team's not
exactly.
playing today.
Exactly. That's why I'm not watching.
That's another reason why you give me your date.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, every time if CSK was playing, we would have not been recording today.
Oh, for sure.
We would have had to do something same thing as some other day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So welcome again. And I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
You cannot expect to do great things and not come on my show and talk about yourself. I mean, we want to bring your inspirational journey out in front of public.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know you enough. I don't know you at all, actually. We
Okay.
just have spoken 2-3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with can you talk about yourself a little bit?
Sure.
What's your life been like?
Yeah.
Let's start with your background, like your childhood.
Oh,
Were
okay.
you born and brought up here?
No. I was born in India
Okay.
and I moved here for my master's, which is like 12 years ago.
Okay. Great.
And I have a CS in master's.
Computer science.
Computer science, yeah.
Okay.
Degree.
Okay. How was it growing up in India?
It was great. It's interesting because a lot of people have this different mindset where, you come here and you have you get your degree and you get a job and you just go back to the routine of 9 to 5.
Right.
And, a lot of people also use, consultancies.
Right. Yes.
You know about
Consulting
those,
world.
right?
Yes. I've started my journey that way.
Yeah, I hated that
Yeah.
since the beginning.
Okay.
Because a lot of people said as an international student, you won't be able to get a job without consultancies.
Right.
Right. I'm not doing that because I believe in myself and I believe in my skill set. So after graduating, I started applying for jobs. I started applying at least 50 jobs per day on LinkedIn.
Right.
Because
Wow.
I wanted to take I wanted to get a job on my own. I didn't want anyone to help me, boost my resume. I did all of that on my own. And then, finally here we are. Like
I'm
after
seeing the
working
traits of independently doing something in you
Yeah.
while you're talking.
Thank you.
So when you started off, what year did you come into the US?
It was 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Okay. And where in India are you from?
So my parents are from Maharashtra,
Okay.
but I grew up in Hyderabad.
Oh,
So
wow.
I know best of both worlds. Like,
Right into the IT
Yes.
hub is where
Exactly.
you grew up.
Yep.
So
yep.
that's why did you always have fondness for computer science and
Oh, yeah,
computers in general?
Growing up, I was like really good with computers.
Okay.
And I always had like, I used to help my friends build their computers too.
Right.
So I was like, this is my thing. So I'm going to pursue doing that. And then when it started, like, when apps started taking over,
Right.
like, before apps, we used to use
Yes.
websites, right?
Websites.
So
correct.
everyone was on websites. Website was a cool thing back then.
Yeah.
But when apps started, like when iPhone came out, like everyone started switching to apps.
Right.
So I got really interested in that, and I started learning how to build apps all on my own.
Yeah.
Like
It's fun you say that, like how apps. It's funny evolution.
yeah,
Back when I was young, to come on a TV
Mhm.
was a big deal. Even if you come into the news somewhere with a camera and everything, right?
yeah,
And nowadays, ever since the apps have been come up, there's a YouTube app,
hmm
and it's not that
yeah, exactly.
that big deal
yeah,
unless you're doing something fun.
yeah.
But apart from that, I mean, coming up on TV is so easy now.
Oh yeah, easy.
So app is like a natural transition. While we're on this topic, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel entrepreneurship and engineering are two different things?
hmm
And or it used to be thought like that, right? Normally,
Mm-hmm.
whoever used to do bachelor's in engineering, they would end up going and doing MBA.
Yeah,
So then they can see the business side of it. Now they
Mhm.
already know how the implementation and everything
Yeah.
works.
hmm
Do you feel you did your bachelor's in computer science? You haven't done
bachelor's in
master's yet.
computer science as well, and master's in computer science.
Master's
as
in
well.
computer science.
Yeah.
Do you feel that doing MBA after engineering is kind of a good combination, or do you feel that doesn't matter anymore?
That's an interesting question because I think it was true back like 20 years ago when
Okay.
people didn't know what entrepreneurship was, and there was not a lot of like connectivity, right? Like because people had to learn everything through books, or like they had to go through or see someone do it. But now there is this like vast knowledge that you can access, right?
Right.
And like with internet, so you can just go on internet or like just get books online and just read everything and learn everything. So
Right.
I don't think people need an MBA right now to learn about entrepreneurship. I think
Okay.
they can just learn it on their own. And also that's what I did, right? Like, and also with ChatGPT,
Right.
it's like a great friend, or like you can use it as your assistant to teach yourself.
How much of entrepreneurship comes from just by doing versus like learning about it?
Oh, that's a good question. But I think, yeah, most of it, like I'm learning, I'm still learning everything as I go. So I would say like it goes 50-50, you gotta have like some mentorship around entrepreneurship, and then rest of it is like you figure it out yourself,
Okay.
or you ask for help.
Right.
Yeah.
Asking for help like always helps, and I feel like doing it instead of just reading about it sometimes works
Mhm.
because then you are not restricted by the rules of the textbook or the
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
You just do you,
Yeah.
and
Basically.
just nothing is going to be like okay, everyone's doing this way, let's do it this way.
Yeah. Mhm.
No, I don't know anything about it, so like, this is what I know how to do best, so I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah.
That's the big difference, right?
Mhm.
That can come into play.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So we'll play a small game.
Okay.
It's rank these cricketing teams from 1 to 5.
Okay.
1 being the best,
Mhm.
5 being not the best.
Okay. Okay.
Once you choose it, you can't change it,
Okay. Okay.
and you
Okay.
don't know what's coming next. So just you
Okay.
go with the flow. Okay.
Okay. I'm just like positioning them, right? Like
You're just
this is
placing
not
them in the
rating,
rank.
Rating. This is not rating.
This is not
Okay.
rating. It's
Okay,
what you
okay.
think is the best
Okay.
in the options that you're
Got
getting.
it. Got it. Okay.
So Bangladesh, where would you put Bangladesh?
Bangladesh 4,
4. Okay. Where would you put Australia?
Australia 3,
3. Okay. Where would you put England?
England 5.
Okay. Where would you put New Zealand?
2.
2. Okay. All right. West Indies goes number 1.
I thought it was gonna be India.
Yeah. So, all right. So
Okay.
let's talk about this. This
Okay.
season of no regrets, right?
Okay.
And
That's fine.
I knew you were going to hold off because you were anticipating something to come to you.
Yes.
Now you have made the decision.
Yeah.
It's done. It's set in stone now. What
Yeah.
you rank.
Okay.
How do you see like regrets in life? I mean, a lot of people, they think about it, but they have hard time doing it, and then they feel, okay, I just chose this. Oh man, I should have done it something differently.
Yes.
How do you have any thoughts on regrets?
Yes. Yeah, this is an interesting topic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned about regrets is that, you can mess up. Like, not everyone is perfect, right?
Right.
You make mistakes, but what you do is like learn from it so that it never happens again.
Right.
I can give you a couple of examples. This doesn't have to be just in like your career. It can also like be in your personal life, right?
Right.
Sometimes, like a small example would be, basically, whenever I'm like talking to my parents, right? Obviously, like, I talk to them like very nice, and like I'm always like chill.
Right.
But there are sometimes, about like
Sometimes,
how
yeah.
like Desi parents are, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they try to, they say something that doesn't make sense to you.
Right.
And like at the moment, I don't just lash out, but I just say something that's off, right?
You get frustrated and
Yeah, I get frustrated, and like I say something which is not out of like how things I would say.
which you don't mean.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
mean
I
it.
don't mean them in a bad way,
Right.
but I just say it.
Right.
And then later I realize, I should not have sent. Later I regret, like, for an entire day, like my day, it's messed up. I'm like, oh, why did I say that to my mom? Like, I really hurt her.
Right.
And so I just call her immediately, and I'm like, I apologize. And the one thing I do is like, I make that note, a mental note is like, okay, this is this is why they said this, I give them the benefit of doubt,
Right.
like, because they grew up in a different environment than us, obviously,
Right.
right? Because different generations. So I give them benefit of doubt, and then I try not to make the same mistake again.
Right.
I mean, I'll make another mistake, but then also there will
Not
be
the same one.
yeah, not the same one.
Right. I mean, as a human, you are going to make mistakes. You have.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't make any mistakes, then you are like at a god level. So which is
Exactly.
no one of us are. None of us
Yes,
are.
exactly.
So yeah, mistake is part of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a very interesting take on regret. And that's a very deeper thing as well. What you were mentioning, a lot of young kids, they get frustrated quicker.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And we don't realize that in the hindsight, we are here because of our parents.
Yeah.
They are not here because of us. So
Exactly.
we forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And when that's a part of growing up.
Yeah.
You over the time you start, being more patient.
Mm-hmm.
I do this podcast because I am not a good listener. Now
Okay.
here I am.
Yeah.
I have
It's
to
like-
keep telling myself.
Quite contrast.
It's very contrast, and I have to keep telling myself to just listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a constant thing.
Okay.
Not just when I'm sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn it every single day when I wake up in the morning. That's the first thing I tell myself in the mirror is just listen.
Okay.
And you will find all your answers just by listening.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about startups in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a phase a couple of years ago where startup was very booming,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people wanted to just jump into startups thinking. But I was reading some stats somewhere which said like 90% of the startups, they fail. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's true or not. I don't even remember the source where I read it. But
It is true.
is it true?
It is true.
Okay. Then why people jump onto startups?
Yeah. So because like it's kind of like an interesting or like hot topic because all these like famous people or like famous entrepreneurs, they have already done it, right?
Right.
So it's like kind of like exciting to whenever you have an idea, exciting to like get excited about that.
Right.
And also you just start working on it, and most of the startups fail because none of them, like, they have the idea but it doesn't go into production, or like it doesn't come to life,
Right.
So that's why most of the startups fail.
Okay.
But yeah, I have like great advisors on the board of Credit Connect.
Awesome.
And one of my advisors always says like, you already built the app, so you have already beaten 90% of the startups.
Right.
So he's like, you need to just take it from there.
So do you have your any favorite startup entrepreneurs from any industry like you look up to?
Yes.
Name three.
Three. Okay. First is Travis Kalanick, founder of Uber.
Okay.
Second would be Steve Jobs,
Okay.
obviously,
Apple,
because he created Apple. Third would be, basically I would say John D. Rockefeller.
Okay.
Yeah, he started like the oil business, and he was
Right.
like one of the richest person in
In the
America,
world.
and he's one of the person who built the foundation of America, basically, if you think about it.
Right. What inspire? Why do you look up to them?
Okay.
What do you like about them?
Yeah, Travis Kalanick, he is the reason why Uber exists, right? Like, I mean, his co-founder came up with the idea, but he ran the operations and he did everything, right? Like, Uber is a brand now, like,
Right.
they do a lot of stuff other than just doing rides. But I like Uber because of three things, because it's once in a lifetime idea, because,
Yes.
you are like right now, I took an Uber from Edison, right? Like,
It's a mover's advantage.
yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. That it's kind of like an idea which changes zip codes,
Yes. Yes.
So it's
absolutely.
basically that. And I just love the idea that it's like very unique and once in a lifetime. And then he's also like very good with history and numbers.
Okay.
And like a lot of things that I do is like I look up to him, and like, he was the one who was like always hustling.
Right.
So I also do that. Like, I'm always hustling.
It's awesome.
And third would be he had a great mind for operations. Like, he had a degree in math. Like, he was really good with numbers, but operations wise also he was like very good.
Right.
I mean, other things happened at Uber and he got like, fired, but like
Right.
that's, I don't completely blame him, but like he was part of it, so he should have known better.
Right.
But yeah, I don't support like, there was like whatever it was going on at Uber.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely think he is the reason why Uber exists, why Uber is what it is today.
That's fascinating. And do you read?
Yes, I do.
You did read a lot?
I used to read a lot when I used to commute for work.
Okay.
But not anymore.
No, because I think that's another thing that I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about. I myself am a big fan of podcasts in general, and
Mhm.
then I also like try to Kuku FM, and there's a bunch of different audio platforms, and sometimes I read, I listen
Oh,
to
okay.
the audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm now getting into reading very slowly.
Okay.
It's the very slow process for me.
Yeah.
I'm a more of a visual medium person.
Okay.
If I see it or if I hear it,
Okay. Yeah,
I
have to
absorb
get
it
back
better.
to it too. Yeah.
yeah. And, but I think reading is what I've seen a lot of this podcast with some big interview folks, and all of them say, if you read a lot, they
Mhm.
read a lot.
Oh yeah, they
They
do.
read
I
all
mean,
the
I have to
entrepreneurs
get
and
back
stuff.
to it.
You have to now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be a big shot someday. So I mean, and people, and if I call you back in my season 10, when you're already out there,
Yeah.
you will have to tell me
Oh,
the
yeah.
top 5 books
Yeah, for sure.
what you have read.
Yeah.
And no, it's a very inspirational thing, because what happens is that when you look at these people, like how you did your research and you have a fondness about some of these startup entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
then you try to take traits from them, and then they inspire you. You try to bring that into your startup or your life in some certain ways, right? So let's talk about Credit Connect first.
Okay.
That's why I have got you here, and
Mhm.
you have come here on the podcast.
Yes.
So Credit Connect is your app,
Mm-hmm.
and you are the founder and the CEO of your app.
Yes.
Talk to us. What is this Credit Connect?
So yeah, Credit Connect is an app that helps people manage their credit cards better. So there are plenty of apps out there that provide you with consolidated view of transactions but they don't do anything with your debt. And this is where Credit Connect differs. We not only show you consolidated view of transactions, but we also provide you with repayment plans of your debt. So it's not just, you're just viewing all your credit cards in one place, but we go one step further and provide you with payment plans of how much you need to pay in order to save on interest. None of the fintechs app do that.
Okay.
And that's where we differ. And we also have a virtual assistant that is trained on all credit card related information. So that was interesting because I was, I don't know if I mentioned this, like my personal journey where I had like a lot of credit card debt and I was trying to figure out like how to get out of it. And I use many fintech apps, right?
Let's start out with that.
Okay.
Can you walk us through what's your inspiration? Why?
Yeah.
Why this?
Okay. So yeah. So as I've mentioned, I had like a lot of credit card debt, and that was because I was bad with money before, like because how I grew up, right? Like because I mean, we did well. Like my parents did well.
Right.
So and my sister is like older than me, like 7 years older. So she was very responsible, and she got a job and she started helping like my dad, from the beginning.
Right.
So I got spoiled like that because I used to take money from my dad, from my mom, and also from my sister, and I used to just like spend it. So I was not good with it at all, and that continued over here when I came to US for my master's, right? And when I first got introduced to credit cards, I didn't know how they work. So I was like, whenever we used to go out, I was like, I got it. Like I never let my friends pay. I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
Like guys, I have a credit card. Like
Right.
I got this.
Right. Yeah.
I just have to
That's
pay
what
them.
they are for.
Yeah, exactly. I just have to pay a minimum monthly payment of $25. So it doesn't it doesn't affect me.
Right.
So I paid for everything, and that's when like I accumulated a lot of credit card debt.
Right.
So I was like, I kept paying minimum payments. And then I was like, hey, there's like something wrong. Like I'm getting my paycheck, but it's all going to credit cards and I'm not able to do anything else. Right.
Right.
So that's when I started to think like, oh, there's something more to this.
It's
right.
interest on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, like how targeted ads work. So I installed like these fintech apps. I don't want to take the names of them
Yeah.
here.
No. Let's focus
So,
on.
yeah.
Focus on Credit Connect.
Exactly. So I installed like 3 different apps. You won't believe.
Yeah.
And all day I was like, okay, this is something. So this is gonna help me clear my debt, right? So I was like, I started using them. Like I used them for months, but none of the things changed. All they did was showed me consolidated view of transactions, and one of them was like, oh, like if you want to clear your debt, take a loan from us and pay the same amount of interest that you're paying to your credit cards. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So I was like, I started looking into credit cards. I figured out how credit cards work, what APR is, and all of that. And after that, I created an algorithm. Basically, there are 2 methods to clear credit card debt: snowball and avalanche methods. But I went beyond that, and I was like, I need to figure this out. So I created like an Excel sheet, and like I wrote down all the interest on all my credit cards, and I was like, okay, this is the balance, and this is how much I'm paying. So I created an algorithm and started sticking to it every month.
Right.
Within just few months, I cleared most of my credit card debt,
Okay.
and also it also increased my credit score
Okay.
by 10 points within just like 4 months of using it.
Oh wow.
So I was like, this is cool. And after that, I started helping my friends. I was like, hey guys, like, don't do this, do this when it comes to credit cards. And also I was like, oh, which credit card are you, like whenever we used to go out for restaurants, like, oh, which credit card are you using here? Like if someone, how we do, like one person pays and like
And
we
then
do
we all
split wise,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, which credit card are you using for this? And if they're using like something else, I was like, okay, if you use this, like you would get more points, like, and then you can use that as cash back and all of that.
Right.
So like after doing that for a while, I realized, this is an interesting problem because a lot of people don't know, like, it's just not me. Like a lot of people don't know how credit cards work. So I was like, how about I figure out like how to help these people, without me being like with everyone, right?
Right.
And I'm an app developer,
Yes.
as I mentioned in the beginning.
Right.
I have like 8 years of work experience just developing apps at different startups.
Right.
So I was like, let's just build an app for it.
Use all your experience and
Exactly.
your
Yeah.
life lessons and
Take that Excel sheet and convert into an app.
Right.
My algorithm and convert into my app. And that's what Credit Connect is.
fascinating. And it's fantastic. So the reason why I ask you this question is because security, it's not just even if you know or you don't know.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
today's day and age, security has become a big concern for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And not just with the app, but with
Mhm.
like everything in general, with the way
Oh,
world
yeah.
is going,
Mhm.
the way we are progressing with the AI and everything.
Yes.
That's what was my motivation behind that question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like it's a it's a bad question. It's a really good question.
Yeah.
And a lot of my users like have asked me that.
Okay, great.
So we are very secure. Like we use Firebase on the back end. Firebase, it uses Google's like standard encryption, like which is an advanced encryption than like regular encryption. So none of our data can be hacked.
Okay.
And we store the credit card information. We use a third party called Plaid, and Plaid, it's a secure connection that connects you to your bank. So we don't even like store any of the personal data.
Okay.
And all of our data that like credit card transactions that are saved on our database are encrypted.
Okay.
So like no one person can go in and see like what how much that this person has, or like
Right.
what credit cards this guy has.
Right.
Like it's just one user.
Right.
And their data. It's not like one. It's not clear that whose data it is. Like,
Okay.
and we don't sell any information to third parties. For money.
Right.
Like,
right.
we don't want to do that.
That's another big thing people are.
Yeah.
We hear in news all the time that like your data got stolen and
Mhm.
by some hacker that tried to hack some bigger something, and then your data. That's normal. It's a normal thing for anybody to. Right.
Mhm.
And do you have a website, or do you have testimonies from the users that have used it before?
Oh yes.
People can kind of get themselves familiarized a little bit.
Yeah. So there were a couple of users who like didn't add their cards. They signed up on the app and they didn't add credit cards. So I was like, I just like emailed them and then just like started a conversation and asked like, I'm the founder. Like I'm trying to understand the reason behind like you not adding your credit card. And they were like, yeah, we're concerned about like security, and we don't know like what you're gonna do with the data.
Okay.
So I told them like exactly what I just said right now.
Right.
And that gave me an idea on like how to modify my product, like basically app. So I added like more messaging around like security when you're adding your credit card.
Okay.
And that converted those users into like, adding their credit cards.
Gotcha.
So I pushed an update like immediately
Right.
on App Store.
Right.
And they were like, oh yeah, this looks, I also updated the UI.
Right.
And they were like, oh, this looks much better.
Right.
And this makes us like feel safe. So we're just going to add it. So they added it.
That's awesome. So for the audience, write in the comment section if you have ever had any kind of run-in with a credit issue, and let us know in the comment section if you have been to such a similar situation. Right now, I have to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we will tell everybody to do their due diligence before they jump into doing anything with this Credit Connect app. Like there's testimonials, like you said on your website.
Mm-hmm.
If you have questions, you said there is some kind of customer service, like a bot to ask.
Oh yeah,
for asking
questions. Yes,
I thought you
virtual
mentioned it.
assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So yeah, when I build the app with the algorithm and like the insights and the consolidated view of transactions, there was one piece missing, which is whenever my friends need a credit card, like to get a new credit card, they used to call me up and they're like, oh, like, can I get this? Like, do you think it's good? Like, so I used to ask like some basic questions, right?
Right.
So I was like, this, like everything else got converted into an app. So how do I convert this? Like, how do I convert my data that
Right.
lives in my head into the app?
Right.
And that's when, ChatGPT came up.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so this is, and AI started picking up. So I was like, I'm going to build a virtual assistant that has all the knowledge that I have on credit cards.
And can people use this functionality even before they sign up, or they have to first sign up and then they can use this?
They have
How does it work?
Yeah, that's a good question. They just have to sign up. and they can use this without adding their credit cards.
Okay, perfect.
And
So you don't have to.
none of the data is exposed to any of that like part of virtual assistant.
Right.
Like none of your data is that.
Right.
I'm working on version 2, which
Okay.
we'll talk about later.
Later. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is not a paid promotion, but what can you do for my guest? Can you do something?
Yeah. So
I'm assuming there's some fee for it, or how does it work?
so right now the app is for free.
Okay.
And I plan on to continue staying that way.
So first 100
Yes.
of my viewers, if
Yeah.
they go and sign up.
Yeah. They don't have to
They-
pay anything.
Okay, awesome.
But
So
I'm
you'll-
planning to charge a subscription like
Right.
very less compared to the other apps.
Right.
So
I mean, you have to make money.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, for your users, I think I'll give you a link.
First 100.
Yeah.
Okay. You give me all the details.
Yes.
We'll put everything down in the description. Go and check it out. Like Saurabh mentioned, it's quite secure, but still do your due diligence. We're not. You make your own decision.
Yep.
We are going to give you the means. And yeah, and I think this is much more fun. Already. Do you feel this is again what you feel when risk-taking ability? When you're doing a startup, there's a lot of risk and a lot of fear and everything that goes behind, and that's the reason probably why a lot of people don't. They keep that idea in their mind, or they share the idea with somebody, and then the other person can, if he's fearless, he'll go for it and he will just attempt. You feel like when you're young, you have that really good neck to not worry about the risk and just shoot. That makes you more successful.
I don't completely agree with that.
Okay.
Because I think as you grow older, you have you have much more experience, and you can you can take risks by if you're older, you have like a partner that you can talk to, and you can rely on, if something goes wrong. So there's always like a backup when you're older.
Okay.
But I think at younger age, it's easy to come up with something, but bringing that to life, it'll be you can either be successful or you can fail.
Right.
But you can afford to fail in both cases, even when you're younger and also when you're older.
Right.
So that's why I said I don't.
When there's nothing to lose, there's nothing to
exactly.
lose. So why might as well just
Yeah.
do it? When you have something to lose, then also it drives you to do better. So you don't lose it.
Yeah.
So, and I have heard people. This is I don't know if this is now you're an entrepreneur. This is your industry. I have heard sometimes people. I have like a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And I don't have. If one startup fails, I'm not going to go for 9 to 5. I'm going to go for other startup. That fails, I'm going to go for another startup. But I'm going to keep going into startup until something succeeds.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a good mindset to have, and I think that's what I also think I have.
Okay.
Because I have I used to have plenty of ideas. I always thought I have really good ideas, so this is gonna work. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna work on those when this fails.
Right.
I'm just gonna say when this becomes big, I'm gonna work on my other ideas.
Okay. So it's just like that, right?
Yeah, it's
You know the show Office? Have you heard
yes,
of it?
I have. Yeah,
Okay.
but I have not seen it.
I'm a big, so that's Michael Scott. That's the pillow.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of that show.
Okay.
And there's one episode they talk about, they have a lot of ideas.
Oh, okay.
Shulala, and there's a bunch of different.
Okay.
They are obviously, it's a fun take on entrepreneurship, but that's the mindset.
Oh yeah.
But once you have an idea, you don't never want to go back to your older life. You just want to keep on hustling.
Yeah, I
and
think
trying to go from one to the other.
I think that's a great mindset.
On the next topic, you brought up about this mentorship that you have gotten, which means that you are interacting with some people who are kind of guiding you in a way.
Oh yeah.
But they're also,
Yes.
how does one find that, or is there like a circle?
Yeah. So right now I have 2 advisors, and one of them is my old CEO.
Okay.
I used to work for a lot of startups, and I met him through work, and he was a great he was a great manager, basically.
Right.
I learned a lot from him. So and he used to say we were a small group, 4 or 5 people
Okay.
at work. like and he used to say and believe that, like, all my, like, whoever is working on my app, like, they are going to be entrepreneurs. I believe that, and I'm like training them for that. Like, he used to say that,
Okay.
and now it has come true. So I was like, I'm gonna reach out to him and ask him to be on the board and like, advise me on stuff that I'm not good at or like I need help with.
Okay.
So
Do they do it for
immediately-
free?
No, I mean, I give some equity.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to give equity. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, like, they're great people to have on board.
Okay.
I found that like very helpful. And the other advisor, I met him through one of the pre-accelerator that we got into. It's
Okay.
called Founders Boost. So Founders Boost is like a no equity, and they don't take any equity, but they just give you like mentorship. It's like a 6-week program.
Okay.
And they provide you mentorship with different people who have built other startups and who are entrepreneurs.
Is it like a course?
Not a course, kind of like an accelerator, but not where they invest in you. There are like other accelerators such as why can't I think of anything right now? Y
That's okay.
Combinators and like what's the other one?
But basically,
ERA.
they give you guidance,
Yeah.
but they don't have a stake in your product.
Yeah. So others, like the others, they give you like they invest in you. They give you some amount and take some equity from that.
Okay.
But this one is like no equity, and they just like provide you with mentorship for 6 weeks.
Okay.
And
Got
you meet like only once or twice per week.
Okay.
And everything you do is like, it's basically what you get what you put in, like basically how much effort you put in. And
Let's say for your mentorship, and you can bring in more people as you feel you want to,
right
or
now,
you just lean on your 2 mentors and then they kind of hold your hand to, because because I'm assuming if there's for startup you did not have any starting point. You just had an idea.
Mhm.
Now, idea, a lot of people have ideas.
Yeah.
But then taking it to the next step,
Mhm.
execution of the idea. So in my first, oh man, I have to say this. Oh, what a perfect timing that I thought about this.
Yeah.
So in my book, this book had the first quote.
Mhm.
I think Thomas Edison said this, and I really liked it. And it was like, vision without execution is just hallucination, right?
Oh yeah.
So this is what
That's a great quote.
I live by. This is
Uh-huh.
what the podcast is an example of
Mhm.
that. I had a vision.
Okay.
I didn't want it to be a hallucination, just like a lot of ideas I have. So I started executing it, and now this is no longer an hallucination. It's actually I'm living it.
Yeah.
You are doing the same thing with your thing, right?
Yep.
So a lot of people have these ideas. Do you have any recommendations of how people can just learn about starting up a business without? Not people don't have an ability to go and do masters because masters is so expensive
Mhm.
here in the US. You have any means where people can go and learn about how
Yeah.
entrepreneurship works?
Okay. Yeah, that I mean, it helped me because like I have experience in app development.
Okay.
But I like, a lot of people don't have that.
Right.
So I think for that, what they could do is like whenever, like if they have an idea, it's good to validate it first. Like, build something. There are so many tools now. Like you don't have to be an app developer to build apps.
Okay.
Like there's so many free tools that you can just use and kind of like build a POC, right? Like proof of concept.
Okay.
So if you can do that, and you have to do that, right? Like, because like you said, like idea without execution is like nothing.
Hallucination,
Hallucination, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be able to figure things out.
Right.
So yeah, you have to figure out like how you can build that without app development experience.
Okay.
So yeah, build a POC early on.
Okay.
And just like find the product market fit later.
POC is
Proof of concept.
proof of concept.
Yeah.
Okay. I spoke about the risk. I spoke about you trying to execute your product.
Yeah.
Right. The next thing is, I've heard this from a lot of people that, when Google and some companies, they go out and buy out these apps, like your Credit Connect, for example. they can come, not just Google, but just any big, big whale out there can come and offer you some money. Would you be interested in doing that? Are you at a stage where they like your thought and your idea and they can give you, let's say, money? I don't know, whatever value you think your company.
No.
Would you be okay? Or would you sell it? And why would you not do it?
No, because I want Credit Connect to be my identity. Like, I don't want it to be just an idea that I got and I sold. Like, I sold it. I want it to be part of my identity of like who I am.
Okay. I've heard people like they became like millionaires overnight when they created some app. I guess for them it's like, you know, just trying to make money at that time.
Yes.
You have more of passion behind your product, which you are kind of, you know, willing to hold close to yourself and sort of build on top of this.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. Yeah, this is just phase 1.
But you have heard of such stories, right?
Yeah.
There are people who
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Create something and then they come and pay some hefty money and then they just give the product and then I've never heard what happens to them after that.
Oh, yeah.
Because now there's so much money.
Yeah, I have like a great example actually.
Yeah, go for it.
So, like obviously you know Jeff Bezos, right?
Jeff Bezos, yeah.
When he first started working on Amazon, when he was building the website, he got offered to get paid out by Barnes and Noble's founder. I forgot his name.
Okay.
But because you know Barnes and Noble's like is a huge like a bookseller, right?
Yeah.
And
Amazon was into books.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
First, like he met him and he asked for like investment, but he like founder of Barnes and Noble, he was like, you know, this is not a good idea. It's never gonna work out. So I'm not even gonna invest you. I'll just buy you a drink and I'll leave you at that. Consider this as my investment. You should stop working on it. But Jeff Bezos.
When you were thinking about Credit Connect, I'm sure you would have had a lot of moments of setback or thought of, you know, let me just not worry about this because it's not going to do. Did you have a lot of self doubts and when you were doing this?
Yeah, I had few of those moments. And there were a lot of people who told me like, oh, you know, like no one's going to use your app. Like no one's going to, you know, add their credit cards, like, you know. Right. But I was like, okay. I just like listen. I don't say anything.
Perfect.
But I just listen. I'm like, okay, that's what you think. I'm going to do what I want, like what I want to do, like in anyway. So like take that advice, like whenever someone's trying to like give you negative advice or like it may be realistic advice too, but just take it with like great.
But for them, from their point of view,
from their perspective, like they may be like your well wishers, right? Like
yes,
and they don't want you to fail.
Correct.
But always.
That's how ideas. That's how big things are made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you push through.
Oh yeah.
When you a lot of people and they mean well for you. They advise you from their situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yours could be completely different. Like you are bold. You are going to go for it. You know, like I also had the similar kind of a story for this.
Oh, really?
I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, before I did this, I was talking to few people, and I like to also like, you know, test the waters.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have so many ideas. I produce like tens of ideas per hour.
Okay.
And out of them, 99.99% are not realistic, and then 1% that is realistic, it is like so out there and so not normal. Like this podcast is not normal. But then I just feel, you know, like what my gut is telling me.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though I'm hearing them out,
mm-hmm.
but my gut is telling me that what I have is going to work.
Yeah.
And the only way to know if it's going to work or not is to just do it.
Try it out. Yeah. Exactly.
All this is like is courtesy Jeff Bezos for the most part. This whole set.
Yeah.
If anything, sell it back.
Yeah.
And you know, we'll figure it out. But that shouldn't hold me back.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I shouldn't wait. Process over perfection, right? Don't wait for your perfect thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your app, when you were building, you would have had to go through multiple iterations of till you try to get your app closer to perfection.
Yeah.
And you are still kind of evolving, right? You said. Thank you so much, Saurabh, again for doing this and, you know, giving us some sneak peek into your life and your product. How was your feeling?
No,
how was
like
this?
it was great. Like I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, this was really nice.
Okay, awesome.
Great job.
Awesome, man. All right, so for the audience, like do like, share, and subscribe. And be bold if you have an idea, do something about it. Do something about it. You don't want it to stay as an hallucination, right? Work towards it, and who knows? You might be the next guest. If you are listening to this, we like to talk about life. We try to inspire people via this podcast. So you never know. So I'll see you in the next episode. This is me, your host Halak, signing off. See you later.